Greetings, class, and welcome to Tel Dan, an archaeological site in northern Israel. We're up here in the north because we have a good city entrance structure here, even though we're talking about Psalm 122, which is a southern psalm associated with Jerusalem and Zion theology, because we have this great gate structure. It's not just a simple gate, but as you saw as we began this video and came in, there's various gate corridors. This is one where there's a judgment podium for a royal magistrate set up in the city. So let's talk a little bit about the Zitzim Laban, do a little bit of form criticism of Psalm 122, just to give you a feel for how this methodology would apply in the case of poetic material. These Psalms, like Psalm 122, there's a group of them, are Psalms of Ascent or Psalms of Pilgrimage, in which folks, probably at least 3 times a year, at the major festivals at Jerusalem, would come from the outlying towns and villages and gather at the temple. After a long and probably dangerous journey, the pilgrims would pause and recite a psalm like Psalm 122. So here we are. The psalm says in the first several verses, it already identifies the fact that the pilgrims have reached the point of the entrance into the city, the point of the gate structure. We're standing within your gates. And the psalmists are celebrating the peace of Jerusalem, the shalom. And part of that peace or harmony is the justice and equity, the resolution of disputes between people, and this would be solved by the magistrate judging cases in the city gate, of course acting as a representative of the Davidic king and of God. And there are some of these stones represent the very ancient witnesses of the communion of Israel's ancestors, and perhaps one of the stones is a matzeva, representing God's presence, the divine presence itself. But we know that this is different from the type of justice carried out in the gate that one would see, for example, in the book of Ruth or in the book of Deuteronomy, because that's local justice carried out by traditional tribal elders in the periphery. This is a more centralized Zion administration of justice that flows through the king as the sacral divine son and through the king's representatives. So the psalm specifically speaks of thrones of the house of David being set up in a locale such as this judgment podium. This one happens to be at Dan, not Jerusalem. So that gives you really a sense of what we have for a reconstructed form-critical Zitzim Laban of Psalm 122. We have pilgrims gathering in this open area within the gate structure, celebrating the type of justice that would be administered by the royal representative sitting in a judgment podium. There we have it, a pretty concrete and, I think, plausible reconstruction of the repeated and ongoing place in life of Israel where a psalm like Psalm 122 would be used and reused again and again. All right. Thanks for coming along and being with me here in this amazing site.